Welcome to Ancient Wild TV. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of how dinosaurs got their name. Who was the first to call these magnificent creatures dinosaurs, and why? Join us as we unravel the thrilling tale of Richard Owen's groundbreaking discovery and the journey that led to the naming of some of the most iconic creatures in Earth's history. Until 1842, the word dinosaur was completely foreign to the world. But everything changed when Richard Owen, a renowned anatomist, gathered three prehistoric creatures that shared some strange similarities. This discovery was a turning point in the way the world looked at fossil reptiles. Interestingly, humans had been finding dinosaur bones for thousands of years, but no one really knew what they were. Some of these fossil fragments may have even contributed to legendary stories of dragons across many cultures. However, the life of dinosaurs in science was not an easy one. For nearly 80 years, they were rejected by many scientists, dismissed as an actual group of creatures. But then, in the 1970s, the terrifying lizards made a comeback and quickly regained the spotlight, especially among paleontologists. Sir Richard Owen wasn't just one of the leading scientists of his time. He was a fascinating, sometimes controversial figure. He was also the founder of the Natural History Museum in London, a place where millions come each year to marvel at vast collections of biology and paleontology. The story of Owen became even more remarkable when he served as a science tutor to the princes and princesses of the British royal family, teaching them about the natural world. This certainly boosted Owen's influence within the royal circles, yet he is perhaps most remembered for his infamous disputes with fellow scientist Charles Darwin, particularly their epic clash over the theory of evolution. In the early 19th century, southern England became the epicenter of fossil discoveries, especially the famous trio of dinosaurs: Megalosaurus, Iguanodon, and Hylaeosaurus. These dinosaurs were first described by scientists William Buckland and Gideon Mantell in 1824, 1825, and 1833, respectively. When Richard Owen began his deeper investigation into these three species, he found some fascinating commonalities among them. Owen noticed that in Megalosaurus and Iguanodon, the bones at the end of the spinal column, the sacrum, had fused while they were alive. This prompted him to keep looking, and he soon discovered that Hylaeosaurus had the same trait. From these fossil fragments and similarities, Owen decided to group them together into a brand new category. In July of 1841, Owen shared his findings in a speech that lasted nearly 2 hours at the British Association for the Advancement of Science and officially named this new group Dinosauria in a report published in 1842. And thus, the word dinosaur was born, marking the beginning of a new field of science dedicated to the colossal creatures we know today. The Chinese translation is, which means terrible lizard. However, the term Dinosauria wasn't just about the terrible nature of these creatures. It referred more to their terrifying size compared to any living reptile rather than sheer frightfulness. Despite the incomplete fossils back then, paleontologists made an effort to estimate dinosaur size by extrapolating from modern lizards. Some estimates suggested that certain dinosaurs could reach lengths of up to 60 meters, but Owen was skeptical of these massive numbers. Instead of relying on modern lizards, he chose to measure dinosaur vertebrae and compare them to the number of vertebrae in crocodiles. This approach yielded more reasonable results, placing Megalosaurus and Iguanodon at around 9 meters long. While many scientists of the time imagined dinosaurs with a posture similar to modern lizards, with legs splayed out to the sides, Richard Owen had a bold idea. He believed that dinosaurs' legs were directly beneath their bodies, supporting their massive weight. This concept led to the depiction of dinosaurs in upright stances, similar to quadrupeds like modern mammals. Research confirmed Owen's stance on dinosaur posture, and this became one of the key distinctions between dinosaurs and other reptiles. When unveiling Dinosauria, Owen claimed that these creatures bore similarities to thick-skinned animals like elephants or hippopotamuses. Owen grouped them into the category of pachyderm, a classification no longer in use today, but one that helped explain why dinosaur models from the 1850s at Crystal Palace bear some resemblance to rhinoceroses. Owen himself served as the scientific advisor for that project. If anyone finds it familiar, Crystal Palace is also the name of a building depicted in the logo of the Crystal Palace Football Club, currently playing in the Premier League. Megalosaurus is often considered the first dinosaur described in scientific literature, though it might have been discovered earlier under a different name. In the mid-17th century, Dr. Robert Plot, the first curator of the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, found a strange fossil fragment. He remarked that it bore a striking resemblance to the lower part of a human thigh bone, but it was clearly not human. Plot illustrated the fossil but didn't give it an official name. The fossil was discovered in Cornwall near Oxford, an area primarily composed of mid-Jurassic limestone. It's intriguing to think that if Dr. Plot had possessed more knowledge about dinosaur fossils at the time, Megalosaurus might have been discovered and named much sooner. In 1763, British physician Richard Brooks revisited Plot's work. Brooks decided to give the strange fossil that Plot described an amusing name, Scrotum humanum, as he thought the fossil resembled a part of the male anatomy. He simply noted that it looked like a man's private parts. However, neither Plot nor Brooks had any idea what they were truly dealing with. It wasn't until many years later that the fossil was re-evaluated, and it was believed that it might belong to the dinosaur Megalosaurus. Fascinatingly, because the name Scrotum humanum was described 60 years before Megalosaurus was discovered, theoretically, it could have become the official name for this dinosaur. However, the fossil has since been lost, and there's no way to confirm whether it truly belonged to Megalosaurus. In the 1990s, the International Commission on Zoological Nomenclature decided that Scrotum humanum did not meet the criteria to become a valid scientific name. Thankfully, this spared the dinosaur from having an awkward name, and Megalosaurus maintained its title as the first officially described dinosaur in the scientific community. Dinosauria, the group named by Richard Owen, almost became obsolete by the late 19th century. As more fossil reptiles were discovered, paleontologists began finding new ways to classify and arrange them. Two major groups quickly emerged: Ornithischia, bird-hipped, and Saurischia, lizard-hipped. In 1888, paleontologist Henry Seeley published an important paper on these two groups, boldly declaring that Owen's Dinosauria was no longer valid as a natural group of animals. Seeley argued that the dinosaurs in this group were just a random collection of distantly related reptiles. As a result, the concept of Dinosauria gradually lost its appeal and was deemed scientifically meaningless. However, by the 1970s, a wave of new evidence, including the discovery that birds evolved from a group of dinosaurs, proved that Dinosauria was not an outdated concept. Under the leadership of American paleontologists like Robert T. Bakker and John Ostrom, the dinosaur renaissance began, thrusting dinosaurs back into the spotlight of research and reaffirming them as a significant group of animals in the history of life on Earth. Thank you for joining us on this journey through time with Ancient Wild TV. From forgotten fossils to fierce debates, the story of how dinosaurs got their name is full of intrigue and wonder. If you enjoyed today's adventure, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more captivating tales of Earth's ancient past. Stay curious, and we'll see you in the next episode.